Yeah, so I'm doing a kit up today. Very late. Um, First I got a card. I got another card, but I need to find it because I saw it somewhere and now I don't know where it is. This card is from Pam, and she had sent me an Easter card. I did not make anything Easter this year. I did not send out anything Easter this year. You know, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. This year I finally remembered to send out the St. Patty's Day cards that have had made for years. So that was a triumph. Alright, so this is from Pam. Honey Lemon, can you please not touch the vacuum, please? And she's Dragon Moon Creations here on YouTube. She's got Rick Rack, Doily, Designer Paper. This is a felt sticker, maybe? Baker's Twine. And then there's a sentiment. It's very pretty. Pam, thank you so much for thinking of me. And your sentiment was, oh my goodness, it was the most heartfelt sentiment anybody has ever written me. You're the best. Thank you. It gave me a good laugh. Alright, so my kit up is for Wendy's May event. I Will Not Desert You, and I chose this canvas that I got from Diamond Art Gift. It's a snack cake bat. Get it all in frame here. I know it's a little bit dark. I'm sorry. I just all I do is work, and my craft table is not cleared off, so we're doing it over here. Okay. Oh, and I thought that I would I should have brought over my recycling buckets. I thought that I would continue on with my story of the last dog that I rescued in this pack. I was gonna save it for a weapon chat, but I don't have nothing better to talk about, so we might as well, do it now. So, I had left off talking about Calliope, how we got her, and so I was with my mom. Like I said, I don't know if I was in the car with her or at her. I think I was in the car because I think she was driving. And she basically told me she knew that we were getting the dog. She just, hadn't told me that she knew we were getting the dog. So, it was probably, yeah, I think I had to work that night. So, when I got off work, that morning, I went home and picked up my mom because this time she did want to participate in the acquisition of said dog, which normally she doesn't, but I guess she wanted to this time. And so I came home, picked her up, and we left to go to the Humane Society. And I think we left, or I think the reason why I went on a work day, one was because she was absolutely just terrified in that shelter. Two being that the shelter was going to be closed the next day, which I believe the next day would have been my day off. Like I had to work that night, but the following day the shelter would have been closed. I think they're closed on Mondays. What is one? See. So, we went to the shelter. She was still there when we got there, and Mom wanted to do another walkthrough of the shelter. I don't know why. I came there for that one dog. But Mom wanted to look around. And then the very back in this one kennel were these two geriatric little dogs. And it's like, well, we came for... her name was Lily. I have a hard time saying that word. Was Lily. And I was like, do you want to request to see these dogs? And she's like, yes, I do. So I put in the request to see these two, like, one was a poodle mix, one was something. I don't know. I don't remember. I wasn't, paying too much attention to those dogs. And they look sickly and elderly, but like, oh goodness. Shit balls. It's gonna be a static mess. They look sickly and elderly, but that doesn't necessarily scare me away. Animals are gonna cost money no matter any way you put it. They're gonna cost money. Whether you're paying $1,000 for a designer puppy, or you're paying $1,000 for medical bills, they're gonna cost you money. And so, I put in the request to see the 3 dogs, and the 2 little dogs, they didn't have a name on their kennel. They just had a serial number. And when I was at the front waiting, or when my mom and I were at the front waiting, the receptionist guy, he's like, yeah, the 2 little dogs aren't available for adoption because they're too sickly, and so we want them to go to it's gonna take a real long time because these are staticky, or at least they're staticky in these plastic bags. He's like, they're too sickly, and we don't want to, adopt them out because they're so sickly, and we feel like they need to go to a smaller rescue, yada, yada, yada. Like, I understood, because they probably would not have been a good fit for the average home that, is probably hoping to come into the shelter to find their new best friend, and not want to have a crap ton of work getting a dog back into shape. I understand. Have I gotten sick dogs from them before? Yes, I have. It's not the past fault. It's just Amber was very sickly when I got her. And it costs money to get her back up and going. But sometimes that's just how it is. But anyways, I was like, no worries. We came here to meet Lily anyways. It's so that that works out fine for me. It obviously makes it so I don't have to to pick and choose. God, that looks like an O, but it looks a little off shape, and so I don't know. We'll just say it's an O. Let's see if I can find that letter. Oh yeah, it's okay. It's an O. And so we go into the meet and greet room, and they bring Lily in. So the first time I saw her and the second time I saw her, I did not know she was a short dog. Hadn't a clue, because she was sitting down and her back was to us and she was shaking. When she walked in that door, oh my goodness, was that the squattiest, tottiest dog I have ever seen besides June, in proportion wise. And it was kind of instant love. I fell in love with short dogs. I will admit it. I am a short dog person, not necessarily a small dog person, but a short dog person. I really enjoy dogs that are unusually short, as evidenced by Dottie and June. Honey's kind of my fluke. So, Lily comes bounding into the meet and greet room. She's a completely different dog than in that kennel, which happens a lot. You think you're gonna meet this, shy, scared, low energy dog, and she kind of looked fat, so I wasn't expecting such a high energy dog to come through that door. But oh my goodness, was she a high energy dog? You know, and was a senior, so I wasn't expecting, to get, just so much energy coming from a dog like her. And then I saw her front flipper feet, and I realized she was part Basset Hound, which is one of my dream dogs. I've always wanted a Basset Hound. I love the way they look. I mean, they're not the healthiest of breeds, I get that, but I've always loved Basset Hounds. And E. And yeah, I mean, I was like, okay, we'll take her. It was pretty quick. They were like, "Do you want her?" I was like, "Yeah." We didn't come all the way down here just to leave her. So, I paid the adoption fee. It was really reasonable because she was senior. So I think her adoption fee was $80. But that did come with, her shots, came with being flea treated, came with the first veterinary exam outside the shelter. So, I had taken her to a VCA, which is a chain veterinary hospital that partners with the Humane Society, which I do not like them, but that's who partners with the Humane Society, so that's who I had ended up taking her to see the first go around. And then if the dog's not spayed, then the shelter also, for whatever fee you're paying, whether it's for an old dog, a young dog, the fee, which the last youngish dog that I got that wasn't a senior, shall I say, was, who was it? I think it was Amber, so quite a few years ago. And I think her adoption fee was like $120, and she was middle-aged. So, all in all, people gripe about the adoption, with the exception of the little dogs, because I know that it's a supply and demand thing, and they're going to rake you for $500 because it's a Chihuahua. It can be a middle-aged Chihuahua. It can be a mix. It doesn't matter. They're going to rake you for $500 unless it's, senior. So that's my only gripe with their adoption fees, is that they milk it with the small breeds, because that, I think it bites, but whatever. So it was not an ideal time to adopt, considering I had to go to work that night. My mom was staying in Tacoma with her sister, I believe. Yes. So I was just gonna be taking Calliope home. And then I think I think I took Calliope and Honey Lemon home with me, because Honey Lemon had been at my aunt's house, but I think I was taking her home too. So I'm not very productive when I'm talking, and I get a little sidetracked. So I make the drive home. I knew I wasn't gonna call her Lily. One, I have a hard time saying that word. Two, I hate flower names. Sorry, Rosie. They're just so average. Like, they're just so average. So I knew I wanted her to have a name that was unusual. The other factor in as far as her name went was I was so agitated with my veterinarian's reception staff that they could not say June. And her name is spelled Joon. I don't know how more simple you could get, unless I spelled it like the month, but her name isn't the month, it's from a movie character. So I was so agitated that the receptionist staff could never frickin' say June's name right, that I was like, alright, well, I'm gonna give Calliope an unusual name, and I'm gonna give her a name that they're not gonna know how to say. And I'm gonna keep my mouth shut, and I'm just gonna laugh on the inside. It'll be cathartic for me to listen to them fuck up Calliope's name. Because Calliope, I kind of understand, someone fucking up. It's not a name you hear every day, you know. But, yeah, June. Come on, June's so easy. So, I mean, I spent probably a good week and a half trying to decide what Calliope's name would be. I think I had wanted to name her Fern at one point. I know it's a plant. But ferns are my favorite plant. They literally are my favorite plant. But fern does not roll off the tongue super easy for me. Plus, it reminded me of something my mom used to call me all the time when I was a kid, which was Vern. I mean, I don't hate the name Vern. I didn't want her name to rhyme with Vern or remind me of Vern. It's not a bad name. I didn't mind being called Vern, but any hoozle. I don't remember what other names were on the list of potential names for Calliope. But I mean, I remember all the names that my mom hated for Ruby. I just can't remember all the names she didn't like for Calliope. But at the time that, we had gotten Calliope, I was rewatching the show The Sandman, and the very last episode of The Sandman, which I'm so sad that Netflix only planned to make 3 seasons of that, because the storyline, that's as far as the storyline was supposed to go, and blah, 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 bullshit. Use your imagination, make up a further storyline, because it was an awesome show. So the last episode of the 2nd season of The Sandman revolved around the goddess Calliope. And I was looking at the name and I'm like, well, I can say it easy enough. I can say Calliope. And if you look at it, it's not, I don't feel it's going to be super obvious for everybody. Sure as hell not for reception staff that cannot pronounce June. They call her freaking John every time they called me. So I was like, well, let me float this name by my mom, see how she likes it, and because, even though she's gonna be my dog, hopefully she doesn't abandon me like Ruby did. I'd still like my mom to at least, not hate whatever name I gave my animals. So, I came home. I was also thinking of the name Mira because it means by the sea. And I love nautical stuff, so Mira just reminded me of Rumpelstiltskin's wife from Once Upon a Time show, though, so I don't know. I wasn't digging that. It was not bringing me fond memories of the name Mira. So, I was running through the names with my mom, and I'd given my mom a whole list of, I'd given my mom the short list of names I was thinking. And when I rolled upon Calliope, she goes, I like that name. And I said, okay, that's her name. It was quick as that. My mom said she liked that name. It was on the short list. I was like, all right, Calliope's her name. And sure as hell enough, when I took her to the vet, not my vet, because of course I couldn't have that satisfaction of taking him to my vet and hearing it. When I had taken her to the VCA vet, and the veterinarian walked in. She's like, okay, it looks like we have Calliope here. And I was like, yep, that's her name. It's Calliope. So, yeah, so I did get my chuckle in that I was waiting for. Nobody can spell it still, but that's to be expected. So, what are some... Oh, and her middle name is Dreamer. I felt it was only right because, you know, Calliope in the show was once upon a time married to Dream. Married to Morpheus, so her name is Calliope Dreamer. She is a very loud dog, as one might expect with a basset hound. When I got her, she had a big, excuse me, fat tumor on her chest. That recently got removed because when I took her to the first vet, the VCA vet, I was hoping that with her being off the concrete, that the bruising on her fat tumor would resolve itself, but it didn't. It was just in a really bad spot, and because of her, her body is shaped like a duffel bag, so unfortunately, that part of her chest didn't come off the ground enough. So she recently had a surgery to have her fat tumor removed, and she's, came through that perfectly great. I don't know why her family never came for her, and that is... It's hard for me to accept, because I feel like even if she had gotten out, and the pound picked her up, and the pound was calling you saying, hey, we got your dog, because she was, microchipped. She was registered. I feel like even if they couldn't take her back, the very least they could have done was say, I'm so sorry, we can't come and claim our dog, and it's hard for me. Aside from everybody dying in a fiery plane crash, it's hard for me to come up with a legitimate reason on why her family didn't at least say, I'm sorry, we can't take her back. I don't... It's not, I don't fault them for giving her up. I just don't... I don't know why they didn't, at the very minimum, just say, I'm sorry, we can't take her back, so that she didn't have to stay in the shelter where she was shaking so badly, where she was so terrified for weeks. It's hard. That's hard for me to wrap my mind around, and as much as I've searched my own heart as to why she was in that situation, it's hard for me to come up with anything not positive, but understandable, Not shaming. I just wish they had let her go. Sorry, I don't want to waste a whole bunch of time. I just don't. I don't understand why they didn't just, give the all clear for the pound to find her new home. I don't. That's been really hard for me to try and understand. She's a funny dog. I really do feel like she loves my grandma, loves my mom more than me. She does. She didn't completely disown me like Ruby the Chihuahua did, but she definitely gets very, very happy when grandma's around. She loves car rides. She always goes with my mom when my mom goes to her sister's, and my mom spends about, or at least she did until her sister's son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren's moved in recently. But typically my mom spent half the month at her sister's, and Calliope would always go with my mom, and Ruby. My mom would take Calliope and Ruby. She is an incredibly high jumper. She's very short. She's only as tall as my mom's 25-pound American Rat Terrier. She weighs like 65 pounds, but she's very, 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 very short. From above, she looks like a duffel bag that's just moving. You know, she just, but she's a very high jumper. She can jump a 4-foot gate, and we know that because my aunt has 4-foot gates. She loves to bay. She's a really good dog, you know. She's a dog that, you know, some of my dogs, it's like, yeah, I understand why someone lets you go. You know, but her, you know, she's a cool dog. She's a cool dog. 8 is J. I'm not sure I have it's just I'm not sure there's any dog she's particularly close to. I mean, maybe the Chihuahua, she's most close to her because, you know, she goes with Ruby and my mom everywhere. But, you know, she's definitely a people-orientated person. My cousin is madly in love with her, and he has a dog named Zeus, so it's like, okay, I guess you guys have, you know, starting a collection of gods and goddesses there. No. Um, Calliope is the daughter of Zeus, and she's the seventh of the sisters, known for her uh, epic poetry and beautiful voice. So I'm not sure if Calliope has a beautiful voice, but she's got a loud voice. She's got a loud one. She likes to bark at me when I'm coming or when I'm going into the bathroom. Yeah, she does not like me going into the bathroom. And she likes to jump. I mean, not just over gates, but she likes to jump on people. But for her credit, even though she's a very, you know, she's not a fat dog, but she's got her entire body is barrel shaped. There's only one shape. It's called barrel. You know, and so when she jumps on you, you know, it's like she's jumping on you slow-mo. So when she hits you, it's gonna pack a punch, but you know, it's just because of her weight. Um, and her legs are so short when she jumps up on her hind legs, she's like flailing, you know. It's kind of like a stallion rearing up. Yeah, I don't regret getting this dog at all. She's scared of loud noises, which kind of makes sense for the pound. Doesn't like, you know, fireworks, lightning and thunder. She doesn't like it when pine cones hit the metal roof. That's been a challenge. She likes to start out sleeping with me, but when I wake up, she's always sleeping next to me in Chewy's chair. So, you know, she gets off the bed and she gets into the chair. So, I think she likes the idea of sleeping with me just for when, you know, I'm not exactly sure how I am when I sleep. So, maybe she has good reason for not wanting to sleep with me. I don't know. And yeah, I guess that's it. I've run out of time. I did not make it through this whole kit up. I'll just finish off camera. Thanks for tuning in if you did. And, I'll leave a link to Wendy's channel in the description box below. The event has already started, but I'm sure you could still paint along with us if you wanted to. And yeah, I guess I will talk to you later, and adios.